Morning. Hold on, I gotta get this thing off. This hurts, there's no padding in here. Ugh. I got my Darth Vader helmet off the printer just a little bit ago. By a little bit ago, I mean like 3 weeks ago, because I've been doing other things. This video is going to be about smoothing this thing out because there isn't probably 30 million videos already on YouTube about how to smooth out a PLA print. We're just going to focus on the dome for this one. I'm going to do a Darth Vader helmet. Threw it in there, and the initial layer down here printed fucking flawlessly, but then it started making a weird clicking sound and it started jerking really bad. And you can see in the dome, you can see all these lines and shit in here. The wheels on the print bed basically gave out. There was at least one of them that had completely failed and the rubber had just gone away. So the print bed was just jerking back and forth really bad. And a sane person would have just stopped the print way down here. But I was like, you know, fuck it. It's printing, it's still printing. I can deal with these lines later. And it printed the whole thing and it completed the print. It's like, yeah, what the hell? Since it printed that, let's go ahead and print the rest of it. Well, I had a print failure all the way up to here where it was almost done, but it's like, I can fix that. Had a print failure, so why don't we go ahead and print the bottom part of the face mask and the neck piece. That completely failed, spaghetti everywhere. What we got to do is smooth this thing out significantly because it's got to go from this dull, ugly looking shit to a nice, super glossy black like you see in the movies. If your printer is dialed in, if you're running a really good printer, this initial step probably isn't wholly necessary, but because my printer wasn't working right and it's extremely rough, I got to sand the shit out of it. So I got this sander and I've got a 60 grit disc on there. I've got my little mouse sander with a 60 grit pad on there to try and get into some of the smaller areas. I've got my Dremel rotary tool, whatever you happen to have. Mine's a Dremel. I got sanding discs on that. I also recently picked up this thing. It's a foot sander for sanding calluses off of the bottoms of your feet. I don't have that problem, but this works pretty okay getting into small little detail areas that you may that are too big for this but are too small for this. So it has a purpose. It does work all right, but you don't want to try and sand this entire freaking surface with it because you'll be here for a year and a half. The whole point of this video is to get to the final step of the smoothing, which is involved putting the primer on. That I think is going to be different than what you may have seen on other videos. I don't know, there might be one out there, somebody's already done this. I don't know, I haven't personally seen it. But all right, I'm going to shut the camera off and I'm going to sand the shit out of this. All right, I got all of the power sanding done. And then I also like to take a propane torch. Mine, I need a new one because my igniter doesn't work. And then I just lightly wave over top of the whole model. Is you're just going to use some Bondo glaze putty. And when you use that, make sure you get a respirator and gloves because this stuff does stink. The Bondo really kind of accentuates exactly how bad your printer is printing. After I got it all sanded and everything, the one thing you didn't see because I didn't turn the camera on is after I vacuumed it off, I got some 99% pure isopropyl alcohol, sprayed it on a rag, wiped it down really good. So now you want to try and avoid touching this thing with your hands so you don't get any of your your skin oils all over it, because it can impede the paint adhesion. The paint won't fucking stick. So now we gotta prime it. I have this Rust-Oleum Universal Bonding Primer. It's just a 1-quart jug. It's not as cheap as spray paint is. It's $18 for this quart. But if you read the fine print on the back of it, this is a sandable primer. All right, so do you remember clear back to just a couple of seconds ago when I was talking up that paint on primer? And it's brand new. I've never actually used it before, and it didn't work for shit. After painting it on and I went to go and try and sand it, it does sand, but it was taking forever. I probably could have sanded this smooth if I would have spent, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 hours sanding on it to try and get it down. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I just busted out the old power sander, sanded off almost all of it. The areas where it's still on there, I'm assuming because it was lower areas that I can't get in there with the power sander, which means, you know, maybe the stuff did do something. It filled in some low spots that the Bondo didn't fill in. So the whole point of this video was, you know, don't waste your time. Just go buy some filler, 2-in-1 filler sandable primer and spray the thing. That's what I'm gonna do next, is I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 coats of this stuff, and then I'm gonna sand it, and well, we're gonna wet sand it. Once I get this sprayed on, we'll come back and I'll show you wet sanding, because, you know, that's exciting shit right there. All right, I'm gonna go spray this. I am done sanding. I probably technically should go back and do another light coat, sand again, because I sanded through the primer in a couple areas, but all in all, it looks pretty good. And since this isn't gonna be true cosplay, I'm not a nerd, this is gonna go up on my wall and never be touched again once it's all freaking done. So it's fine if there isn't quite any primer on here. And we're gonna clear coat it later. Well, maybe, I don't know. No, I probably won't clear coat it because there's no reason to. My Stormtrooper helmet up there ain't clear coated and it's glossy as hell. So now it is time to paint. Well, wait, I should mention this. When I got done sanding it, of course it's gonna be goopy and nasty because you had it in a muck bucket. I took it in the house and I scrubbed it with Dawn dish soap and water, warm water, got it good and clean. Once you wash it, don't touch it with your grubby little fingers anymore. You don't want to get oil on this thing, because your skin oil, you're probably going to ruin your paint job, because it might cause orange peeling. It'll ruin your paint. No matter how clean your hands are, you still got oil and grease and that's going to come out of your pores, especially mine. I've been a mechanic for the last 30 years, so my pores just kind of exude grease. Now, not a very good mechanic, but I'm still a mechanic. I got a glove on, so I'm not touching it. We're gonna put it in here in my spray booth, get the fan going. We're gonna paint it Rust-Oleum high gloss primer. Well, hell, this is actually paint and primer in one, so those little freaking rub through areas ain't gonna matter. But this is high gloss, it's good stuff. Oh, after you wash it, make sure it's dry, 100% dry. A little drop of water, a little bit of moisture somewhere will ruin your paint job as well. What I didn't realize is there are some small pinholes along the bottom edge of this that didn't get filled in with primer or Bondo. So when I was washing it and sanding it, this helmet is relatively hollow. It's filled with infill. it filled with water. So it sat out here and dripped and dripped and dripped and dripped for hours and hours and hours. And finally, the last of the drips came out of it. Yep. So now I can actually paint it. Do this in a couple of coats. You'll do one coat and then come back later and do another coat. If you try and do it all in one coat, chances are you're going to put too much on. You're gonna get runs. All right, I'm gonna shut the camera off and I'm gonna go paint this. All right, so the paint is dried. Supposed to let it sit for 24 hours. I've let it sit for, what's 48 plus another day? Whatever that is, that's how long it sat. It's pretty shiny. I was gonna put a clear coat on it. I wasn't sure whether or not I was gonna. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put a high gloss clear coat on it, and went and grabbed it, and I didn't have any high gloss clear coat. I had matte clear coat. I'm glad I read the label because that would have really screwed up my helmet. But it turned out, well, perfect. Of course it turned out perfect. I made it. Now I gotta work on this, get this done. This one's the pain in the ass because there's so many more curves and everything. It's a lot more sanding. Trying to get the Bondo down in all the little tight crevices is going to be a pain in the ass. I used some Milliput up here on the eyes in the really deep crevices, but that'll be my next project. I don't know if I'll record it or not to get it finished up. If an idiot like me can go ahead and buy a printer and do something like that, just imagine what an idiot like you can accomplish. I don't know. I don't know you. You might not be able to do any of this shit, but I managed to figure it out. So, you know, maybe there's some hope in you. Anyways, till next time. Like, subscribe, all that other shit. See ya.